The courtroom had already decided the fate of billionaire entrepreneur Nathaniel Brooks before the judge even entered. Television cameras crowded every corner, reporters whispered eagerly, and powerful rivals exchanged confident smiles. The once respected businessman stood alone at the defense table, exhausted after months of relentless lawsuits designed to destroy everything he had spent decades building. Outside, thousands believed his empire would collapse before sunset. Then, just as the courtroom doors slowly opened, a young woman in a navy suit walked inside carrying a single worn leather folder. No one recognized her except Nathaniel. His trembling hands froze, his eyes filled with tears, and memories from 15 years earlier rushed back like a storm. The little homeless girl he had rescued from a freezing sidewalk had returned, not as the frightened child he once protected, but as the only person capable of saving his life's work. Before this incredible journey continues, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes kindness changes lives, and subscribe to Kindness Vault. Every act of kindness creates another story worth telling, and your support helps these stories reach people who need hope the most. 15 years earlier, Nathaniel Brooks was far from being one of the country's most respected business leaders. He was a hard-working widower raising his 8-year-old son, Owen, while struggling to keep a tiny furniture workshop alive. Every sunrise began the same way. He prepared breakfast, packed school lunches, swept sawdust from the workshop floor, and worked until his hands ached. Money was scarce, sleep was rare, but his determination never disappeared. He believed success meant far more than wealth. It meant becoming the kind of father his son would always be proud to remember. Every ordinary morning reminded him that even after losing his wife, life still offered reasons to keep moving forward. One bright autumn afternoon, while driving home after delivering handmade tables to a local café, Nathaniel noticed a little girl sitting alone beside an abandoned bus stop. She looked no older than 7. Her oversized jacket barely covered her tiny frame, and her worn shoes had holes large enough for her toes to peek through. She held a small stuffed rabbit whose fur had almost disappeared. People walked past her without slowing down. Some glanced briefly before looking away. Others acted as though she simply didn't exist. Nathaniel couldn't continue driving. Something deep inside refused to let him ignore what everyone else had accepted. He learned that the girl's name was Ariana, and she had spent months surviving on the streets after losing both parents in separate tragedies. Temporary shelters had failed her. Foster placements never lasted. She trusted no one because every promise made to her had eventually been broken. Nathaniel initially intended only to buy her a warm meal and contact social services. Instead, he found himself sitting beside her for hours beneath the afternoon sun, listening more than speaking. Beneath her fear lived remarkable intelligence and quiet courage. She had learned to survive in a world that offered children very little mercy. That single meeting transformed 3 lives forever. Nathaniel completed every legal requirement to become Ariana's guardian despite endless paperwork, financial inspections, and criticism from relatives who insisted he was making a terrible mistake. Friends questioned how a struggling single father could possibly care for another child. Some believed compassion was a luxury reserved for wealthy people. Nathaniel believed the opposite. He understood that kindness mattered most when giving required sacrifice. Life inside their small home wasn't instantly perfect. Ariana often woke screaming from nightmares. She hid food beneath her bed because she feared hunger would return. She apologized every time she accidentally broke a glass or spilled milk, convinced mistakes always led to punishment. Nathaniel never raised his voice. Instead, he patiently showed her something she had never truly experienced before: consistency. Every morning breakfast appeared on the table. Every afternoon someone waited after school. Every birthday was celebrated. Every tear mattered. Slowly, the frightened child began believing she finally belonged somewhere. Owen welcomed Ariana like a real sister from the beginning. They built pillow forts in the living room, completed homework together, and spent weekends helping Nathaniel inside the workshop. While other children chased expensive toys, the three of them laughed while sanding wooden chairs, planting flowers outside the house, or sharing homemade pancakes beneath warm daylight pouring through the kitchen windows. Their happiness wasn't built on luxury. It was built on security, patience, and unconditional love. Years passed, and Nathaniel's workshop slowly expanded into a respected furniture company known for ethical craftsmanship and fair treatment of employees. He refused to cut corners, underpay workers, or compromise quality simply to increase profits. Customers trusted his honesty, and that trust became the foundation of an expanding business empire. Even after opening factories and offices across several states, Nathaniel continued visiting workshops personally, remembering employees' names and asking about their families. Success never erased the humility forged during difficult years. Ariana flourished in ways no one expected. School teachers discovered extraordinary talent hidden beneath years of trauma. She excelled in debate competitions, earned scholarships, and developed a deep passion for justice after witnessing how easily vulnerable people were ignored by society. Nathaniel encouraged every dream she expressed, reminding her that her past would never define her future. While others saw a homeless child rescued by kindness, Nathaniel always saw limitless potential waiting for an opportunity. After graduating with highest honors from law school, Ariana became one of the youngest attorneys at a respected legal firm. She built her reputation defending people who lacked powerful voices. Colleagues admired her preparation, compassion, and fearless integrity. Yet despite professional success, she never forgot the man who had transformed an abandoned child into a confident woman. Every birthday she visited the old workshop, now preserved beside the company's headquarters, simply to remember where everything had begun. Meanwhile, Nathaniel's growing success attracted dangerous enemies. A ruthless investment group sought control of his company after failing to purchase it legitimately. When Nathaniel refused to sell, they launched an aggressive legal campaign filled with fabricated financial accusations, manipulated witnesses, and misleading media reports. Overnight, decades of trust seemed ready to disappear. Investors withdrew support. Longtime partners grew uncertain. Headlines portrayed him as corrupt before evidence had even been presented. The company that supported thousands of families stood on the edge of collapse. Nathaniel refused to fight dishonesty with dishonesty. He believed truth would eventually prevail, but the legal complexity overwhelmed his exhausted defense team. Hidden documents disappeared. Key witnesses suddenly changed testimony. Every court session seemed to strengthen the opposition's case. The stress aged him rapidly. Employees feared losing their livelihoods, and communities dependent upon his factories anxiously watched each court update. It appeared impossible for one honest man to defeat an organization fueled by limitless money and influence. Then came the morning everyone expected, the final judgment. As sunlight streamed through the courthouse windows, Nathaniel quietly prepared himself to lose everything. Reporters predicted bankruptcy before evening. His rivals celebrated early. Yet destiny often arrives disguised as an ordinary moment. The courtroom doors opened, revealing Ariana carrying a weathered leather folder Nathaniel instantly recognized. It was the same folder where he had carefully preserved every adoption record, handwritten letter, business journal, and legal document throughout the years. Before leaving for university years earlier, Ariana had quietly asked permission to organize those papers. Nathaniel never imagined they would someday become the strongest evidence in his defense. Ariana had spent months investigating inconsistencies hidden inside thousands of financial records. Working day and night, she uncovered proof that anonymous executives had forged contracts, manipulated accounting systems, bribed witnesses, and intentionally framed Nathaniel to seize control of his company. The leather folder contained original handwritten records, time-stamped correspondence, and overlooked agreements proving Nathaniel's consistent honesty over decades. Combined with newly discovered digital evidence, the truth became undeniable. As every document was carefully presented before the court, confidence slowly vanished from the faces of those who believed money guaranteed victory. Independent investigators confirmed Ariana's findings. Expert witnesses validated every record. One by one, the carefully constructed lies collapsed beneath undeniable facts. The same courtroom that expected Nathaniel's downfall instead witnessed one of the most dramatic reversals anyone present had ever seen. The judge dismissed the false claims, ordered criminal investigations against the conspirators, and publicly recognized Nathaniel's integrity after months of undeserved humiliation. Nathaniel never celebrated with anger or revenge. Instead, he quietly walked outside into the warm afternoon sunlight surrounded by employees, friends, and family. Cameras captured the emotional moment as Ariana embraced the man who had once offered warmth to a forgotten child sitting alone beside a bus stop. Neither wealth nor legal victory created the most unforgettable image that day. It was gratitude. 15 years earlier, one act of compassion had seemed insignificant to the world. Now that same kindness had returned stronger than anyone could have imagined, protecting not only one father but thousands of workers whose livelihoods depended upon his company. Nathaniel later established a nationwide foundation dedicated to supporting homeless children through education, housing, and mentorship. Ariana became its legal director, ensuring every child received opportunities she once believed impossible. Owen expanded the family business while preserving the values that built it from a tiny workshop into a respected enterprise. Together they proved that success measured only by profit eventually fades, but success measured by transformed lives continues growing for generations. If this story has touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Vault. Your support allows more inspiring stories of hope, compassion, and second chances to reach people who need them most. Special request, comment below, one act of kindness can change a lifetime. As the sun slowly disappeared beyond the city skyline, Nathaniel stood outside the original workshop where everything had begun. The old wooden sign still hung proudly above the entrance, reminding him that the greatest investment he had ever made was never in buildings, machines, or money. It was in a lonely little girl everyone else had overlooked. The world remembered the day Ariana walked into a courtroom and saved an empire. Nathaniel remembered something far simpler. 15 years earlier, a child had simply needed someone to stop walking past her. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness doesn't just rescue one life, it quietly changes the future for countless others, proving that love given without expecting anything in return is the strongest legacy anyone can ever leave.